I want to thank my colleague, Senator Merkley, a son of Douglas County, and just reflect for a few minutes on the horrendous events of the last week. And my colleague has eloquently talked about the victims, and I'm grateful for that. I want to talk for a few moments. Senator Merkley and I will be returning home tomorrow. I want to talk a little bit about some of what was inspiring last Friday. My colleague and I, and our colleague from the House, Congressman DeFazio, we went to Mercy Medical Center, and we saw all of the staff. And my own sense is that there's no way that you really can prepare for something like this. You can go through as many training programs, have as many drills, have as many handbooks as anybody can invent, but you're never really prepared for it. And when Senator Merkley and I and our colleague from the other body, Congressman DeFazio, we walked into that meeting, I think there were probably 150 staff there. I said, this is the face of Douglas County. These are the people, the doctors and the nurses and the pharmacists and the volunteers who were just there in a time of extraordinary stress, giving those individuals the very best of care. And that little extra touch of Douglas County sharing that my colleague knows much more about than anyone else here in the Senate. And I so appreciated what we saw in the Mercy Medical Center, because it told me that even at a time of such pain and after such carnage, we know Douglas County is going to come back. Roseburg is going to come back. And to me, the reason we know it is because of what we saw there at the Mercy Medical Center. All of these committed, wonderful advocates who against all odds came through. And there's one other part of Douglas County that I wanted to reflect on because it says so much about the community. My colleague and I have town hall meetings around the state. We've both been in Douglas County. And I had a town meeting at UCC here just a couple of months ago. And as I was driving in, all of the log trucks were parked out in front because it's a community that cares a great deal about sensible natural resources policy. And we had a spirited town meeting, as most of the town meetings in Douglas County are, because people have strong views. But on that day, I saw much of what I saw at the Mercy Medical Center that my colleague and I visited, is people who cared about their friends and neighbors, cared about a whole host of issues from the economy to charity to what the Congress was doing that might actually be relevant to them. And I bring this up only by way of saying that I'm so grateful that my colleague made the presentation he did, so we understand what a huge loss this has been. But I also wanted to touch on what I saw with my friend at the Mercy Medical Center and what I saw at the Umpqua Community College Town Hall meeting of just a couple of months ago. Because at a time of great loss, we should also be inspired by what we saw at that medical center and friends and neighbors of goodwill saying that they're going to come together and deal with some of the biggest challenges that the community and our country faces. So I look forward to going home with my colleague tomorrow to once again talk about the challenges that are ahead after Roseburg. We talked a little bit about that on the steps. But I mostly want to say that what we saw last Friday in the middle of tragedy and great stress ought to send the message to all concerned that Douglas County is going to be back. Douglas County is a special place. And as horrendous as these losses were, those are people that embody the best of our state and the best of our country. And I look forward to working with my colleague and his leadership to try to provide whatever solace we can in the short term and then move on to tackle the community's bigger issues in the days ahead. I thank my colleague. Mr. President, I yield the floor.